Hey. Um, yeah, this is kind of late. I know, like a couple days late. But I just really wanted to get the combat video out first before anything. But then, Mix and Anel dropped their own combat videos, and then Luxon dropped like an entire um trailer analysis. All three of them did that yesterday, so my video kind of got overshadowed, and so will this one probably. But yeah, um, here's the analysis of the trailer. So I don't really have anything else to say except we're doing this on the Switch on the Switch News tab on the home screen instead of YouTube because it's a lot easier that way, and I can just hide the UI whenever I need to. Like when I need to talk about something that shows something, can't really do that when the video's paused on YouTube. So, and plus, I just really want to use my HDMI splitter. But uh yeah, let's actually start.
There you are!
This this is Ethel. She is a Kevis soldier, and she is also an officer, just or she has the same marking or tattoo as the party, as you can see right there on her chest. You see on her chest right there, she has the same mark as the party. So maybe that's the mark of an officer. And she actually is from Colony 4. Colonies are numerical again, and she's from Colony 4. She is the chief of military, and she is also known as Silver Ethel. She actually was friends with Noah and helped him when he was a child soldier. So, like, she basically showed him the ropes and helped him grow as a soldier. And now she's opposing the party, and Noah is confused and say, "Oh, I thought we were friends." Noah is confused why she's opposing the party, and it has something to do with this red in her eye. Now, I'm not going to speculate too much on this. That'll be for another video. But Ethel is a former Kevis army soldier, and she was there as basically Noah's superior and showed him around. She's from Colony 4.
You monsters!
And if you notice, she said, "There you are, you monsters." So, gathering context clues, she could be talking about the Ouroboros forms. And we know from this trailer that the Ouroboros forms are like a big deal and are essentially outlawed. Maybe because they're like very dangerous, as we'll see later on. But she used to be friends with Noah, and now she's turning against them. I don't know if she's turning against Kevis as well, like turning against Melia, but at least the party she's no longer acquainted with, per se. And here obviously is an Iron Giant, an Kevis Iron Giant that the party is about to fight.
Cut it out! We are friends here!
Here, Lance, he said, "Cut it out, we're your friends here." So this red in her eye obviously has something to do with it, and that's what changed her. And as we see right here, she she sees the party differently, so she doesn't see them how they actually are. So to her, they look like this, and these could actually be Gnosis. So she could have. It's weird though because she doesn't see the Napon like that. She still sees them as they are. Maybe it's because they're officers. So assuming that the mark or that little tattoo or whatever, like the main symbol for Xenoblade 3, assuming that is the symbol of officers, the entire party are officers, and as well as Ethel. And for whatever reason, maybe this is like this version of nosification where she gets that red in her eye and it kind of like rewires her, just completely takes over her and sees everyone as Gnosis, and the Napon aren't Offseers, so she sees them as they are. Either that or the symbol means you can form an Ouroboros, because we've only seen a couple characters with this symbol. If you remember in the last trailer, that blonde-haired character playing the flute in front of all those people, they also had the symbol on their hand, and every party member has this symbol somewhere on their body, as well as Ethel. So either that's the symbol signifying that you can transform into an Ouroboros, or that's to signify that you are an Offseer. And perhaps the real enemy that keeps being talked about is Gnosis, like our Gnosis, and as we haven't seen anything about them yet. And when you get touched by a Gnosis, at least in the context of Xenoblade 3, you get that like red eye, and the Gnosis, they could act as like cordyceps, and they can just hardwire and take over your brain, so you're like no longer in possession of what you do, and you see everyone else as Gnosis. But if that were the case, then why would a Gnosis want to destroy another Gnosis? See, this video is more of like analysis video other than speculation. So I'm going to try to keep the speculation to a minimal, because I have other videos planned as like speculation and everything. But this is just an analysis of what we're seeing and what it all means.
Did they order you to destroy Ouroboros too?
Well,
This right here, his name is Isurugi. He is from Colony Lambda. He is chief of military, and he is also Agnes's best tactician. What's interesting is that he used to be Tyon's subordinate. He was Tyon's former subordinate. So he worked under Tyon, and perhaps this means Tyon maybe was also part of the Agnes military, and he was like a high ranking official. Perhaps he was the chief of military, and then Isurugi took his place. But as you can see here in a second,
enemy.
Isurugi also has that red, like that red in his eye. So this has something to do with Gnosis, or something to do with that antagonistic Ouroboros that we see later.
Even though we're being chased by both nations at once.
And there's a lot of important dialogue right here.
There you are! You monsters!
Cut it out! We're your friends here!
And not that this is of any importance, but Lance sounds a lot like Ryan. Doesn't he? He sounds a lot like Ryan. He says, "Cut it out, we're your friends here." That was Lance, and he sounds damn near exactly like Ryan.
Cut it out! We're your friends here!
So, I mean, you know, maybe Ryan and Lenata had a kid, and you know, that's where Lance came from. Maybe he's a half-breed Machina and Homs. Who knows?
Did they order you to destroy Ouroboros too?
Did they order you to destroy Ouroboros too? That was Noah talking to Ethel, because if you remember, they're like childhood friends in a sort of way. And he's surprised, like, why are you fighting us? I used to be your friend, and now you're turning against us. And maybe he's asking, oh, did Kevis order you to destroy Ouroboros too? Because it seems that Agnes and Kevis are both after the party, because they can form into Ouroboroses. Maybe they are the only ones, at least so far as we know of, that can form into Ouroboroses, and that's a very big deal because maybe Ouroboroses are like Jinn. Jinn is like a very, very powerful flesh eater, and he was wanted, or at least Laura was wanted, because Jinn's core crystal was stolen. That has nothing to do with this, but you know what I'm trying to say. Ouroboroses are very, very strong, and obviously a very, very big risk. And maybe every time you go into an Ouroboros form, it drains your clock faster, or it drains a flame clock faster. I do not know, but Kevis could have sent Ethel to destroy the party, their Ouroboroses.
The world, our enemy.
And I'm not sure what he's saying here.
The world, our enemy.
I'm pretty sure he's saying the world, our enemy. So either that could mean, since he's obviously being controlled under something with that red in his eye, if it is Gnosis, maybe the Gnosis see Ionias as, you know, their enemy. Just everything in the world as an enemy and that needs to be destroyed. Either that or that's Isurugi talking himself. And maybe he is an Ouroboros too, and the whole world is his enemy because everyone's after the party because they are Ouroboroses, or they can form into Ouroboroses. And it seems like the whole world is against Ouroboroses and everyone wants, it's kind of like the Aegis. Everyone either wants the Aegis for their own doing or to destroy it. It seems like everybody is against the Ouroboroses.
Even though we're being chased by both nations at once.
There's a reason we met. There has to be.
And then Mio says, even though we're being chased by both nations at once. And then Noah says, there's a reason for it. It has to be. So the party is being chased by both Kevis and Agnes, and this is probably early in the game, considering, you know, Noah says there's a reason for it. There has to be. They don't know about their Ouroboros forms yet, so perhaps the Kevis and Agnes know about the Ouroboros forms, but the party doesn't. Maybe the party are like experiments. Maybe Kevis and Agnes were working together like under the radar, or they were working with some third nation under the radar to, with like some Ouroboros experiment type shit, to create Ouroboroses for some reason. Or Kevis and Agnes could have been working together to create Ouroboroses to fight the real enemy, and the party are like the successful clones, the successful experiment of real Ouroboroses, and they kind of, you know, just rebelled on both nations and kind of just doing their own thing, and they realized, yeah, this is really bad. We can't have this. We can't have them falling into the hands of the real enemy, so we have to get them back. So perhaps Ouroboroses are not like natural phenomena, and they're like experiments created by Kevis and Agnes, and the party are like the first successful attempts of this Ouroboros program experiment type thing. So this could be why the two nations are after the party. And this would explain why they would somehow know that they're Ouroboroses, but the party not knowing yet. I don't know. Yeah, I said this would have like very little speculation, but here I am.
That's why.
Let's go!
And I'm actually not going to go over any of the combat in this trailer. I'm not gonna, you know, analyze any of the combat. I have like an entire hour video dedicated to just explaining the combat and everything in it. So I think that was my last video. So yeah, I'm gonna put that in a little iCard up here, or I'm either gonna put that in a little iCard or at the end of the video in the end card in the description, whatever. So I can go watch that. But I'm not going to explain anything about the combat here because I can go watch my last video on that.
Come here! I got something for you!
This is completely unrelated, but I really like how smooth all like the animations are, how just smooth and seamless they are. Like here, when Noah uses Sword Strike, the way he like turns around and puts force into the last hit, it just, it's just so smooth. I love the way it looks. Like, doesn't that little spin and then swing just look so natural, so smooth? It just looks so good.
What is that thing?
You've got a
Right here. What I was thinking earlier, that this Ouroboros right here, I mean, he's most likely an Ouroboros because he looks like the party's Ouroboros is just in a different form, but he could be a Gnosis. This could be like Xenoblade 3's version of a Gnosis, and when you get touched by him or somehow influenced by him, he can control you. You get that red glow in your eye like we saw with Ethel and Itsurugi. Because he has red eyes, so, and he's obviously very important antagonist in the story that we don't know anything about other than that he is an Ouroboros. So who knows, maybe this is like the leader of a third secret nation and he himself is an Ouroboros, and maybe he was like the first Ouroboros to be like, he conducted an experiment on himself for like the Ouroboros program. He was the first successful, production, and then he kind of went rogue. So the other two nations decided, yeah, we got to make more to stop him. I don't know. That could be like that could be the furthest thing from the truth, but it's something fun to think about. And this might be a new character, but he also might be a returning character, because we know for the Ouroboros forms, for the party, we can hear when they speak, it's both of their voices at once. And this guy, he kind of sounds like a mix of Van Damme and Mumkar. That, I'm not saying that's who he could be. I'm just saying that's, his voice sounds like Van Damme and Mumkar.
You've got a real death wish.
And I'm trying to decipher, but I don't think we've heard this voice anywhere in Xeno. I could be wrong because I always miss details or forget to mention something in these videos. But yeah, he is most definitely an Ouroboros.
Wish.
He says, you've got a real death wish. He could just be talking about, oh, you've got a death wish fighting me, because he's obviously very strong. Just look at him. Okay, so I don't know. Maybe the party knows who he is, or he could kind of just dropped by. Maybe he knows that they are also Ouroboroses, and he wants to take them out. Maybe in fear of them taking him out, or something else.
Now, kids.
And something I noticed, he has like an infinity symbol on his body. My God. Okay, this is really bad. Okay, whatever. This is clear enough. You can see right there, like that's his chest type of area. And it looks like he has like a little infinity symbol right there. So maybe that's his clock. And like the clock's actually show some form of time, and maybe that shows how long you can be in the Ouroboros 4, because at least in combat, like a gameplay thing, in combat, when you go into your Ouroboros form, you can only be in there for a certain amount of time, and there's a gauge that fills up once you're in Ouroboros form, and once that gauge reaches max, you basically overheat and you're like kicked out of Ouroboros form and have to cool down. So maybe the in-universe explanation is that your Ouroboros form actually has a clock, and fighting fills up that clock, and that clock represents how long you stay in the Ouroboros form. And this guy, obviously, if that is what that means, he can stay in his Ouroboros form indefinitely, considering if he is like the leader of a third nation, he somehow exploited the experiment, or using his power as the leader of the nation for something to like give himself infinite time for his Ouroboros form.
Kids, you share a common.
And here okay, I'll let you listen.
Now, kids, you share a common destiny.
Here, now, kids, you share a common destiny. Initially, I was saying this sounds like Van Damme, because it kind of does. But it's not, it doesn't sound like gravelly enough to be Van. This could just be Van Damme talking softly. But this Van Damme guy is really interesting, because he seems to know a lot about basically like the world that the party doesn't. And maybe this Van Damme guy seems to know about the Ouroboros forms even before the party. So maybe he was the one conducting the experiments, and then he realized that this Ouroboros experiment program thing was a really bad idea, and he kind of wants to help the party stop it somehow. Like, he's obviously not from Kevis or Agnes, so either he's just an outsider or he's from a third nation, and he's got like a lot of power in a third nation. Because how else would he know that the party have Ouroboros forms before they do? And here, actually,
Now, kids,
we can see during this fight against this antagonist, first of all, mind you, before I even get on with that, doesn't he kind of remind you of somebody? Specifically, Groff right here? Okay, they look very, very similar. So, I mean, I haven't played Xenogears, so I don't know, like, what Groff is about at all in Xenogears. Like, what his motives are, what he actually is, what he does. So, I just know they look very similar, and that could have something to do with something, because Takahashi and Monolith, they don't just add in little details like that for nothing. They don't do coincidences. Everything they do has some type of meaning to it. So for those of y'all more knowledgeable on Xenogears, can y'all like tell me what the similarities or significance of him looking like Groff are? Because that would be really helpful.
real death wish. Now, kids, you share a common destiny.
And here, what else? Okay, what I was saying before, they're fighting this Ouroboros guy, and obviously they're not strong enough. And we see them, like, for the first time ever, start to, like, fuse together into their Ouroboros forms, and they're confused, like, oh, what is this? What's happening? So this is obviously the point in the story where we're introduced to the Ouroboros form, and where the party first uses it. This is early in the story still, considering Mio and Noah still have their Agnes and Kevis attire respectively. So this is before like the party truly becomes their own group. So, and it could be like one of those tropes where, oh, party is getting beat, and then right before something bad happens, they realize they have this really strong power and just are able to use it to fight back. It's one of those type of tropes. So this is this cutscene right here where we see them like floating out of their bodies and whatever and connecting. This is them. They're like connecting with each other on like a telepathic level or like a spiritual level to form into the Ouroboros.
You share a common destiny.
And when they do form into an Ouroboros, they get this circle in their eye, basically an Ouroboros in their eye when they go into Ouroboros form. So we can see it here on Noah. We'll see it on Mio.
I felt
You see it clearly right there on Noah with his eye glowing blue.
her
We can see it here on Mio with her left eye glowing blue. And we'll see it with the other characters later on.
thoughts. There were so many, and then they were a part of me.
And Noah drops some important information here.
Destiny.
I felt her thoughts. There were so many, and then they were a part of me.
I felt her thoughts. There were so many, and then they were a part of me. So Noah and Mio, they're like souls are combining into one to form the Ouroboros. They share each other's thoughts. So everything of one becomes the other. They literally fuse to become one being with all of their knowledge and memories and skills and everything all merging into one giant Ouroboros, like one giant entity.
How are you inside me? Hold on.
And it seems like since they're confused that this is happening, oh, how are you inside me? Hold on, is this? And then it cuts. This happens, maybe this happened out of their control. Like this just happened and they weren't expecting it. Well, obviously they weren't expecting it, but like they had no control over it, and their Ouroboros form just kind of happened. So maybe Alvis is here watching over them, and you're like, huh, let me activate the Ouroboros form here. Like maybe Alvis did that, because I'm sticking to that. The Elvis is coming back. I mean, there is no way that he's not. Okay, but I'm not getting into all that speculation right now. But yeah, when they form an Ouroboros, they fuse together in mind, body, and spirit, basically.
Are we?
And this like orange
Hold on.
circle in their chest seems to be like their life force, basically.
Are we?
The spark for me yet.
Hang in there, you're dead.
Here we see Lance and Senna forming. In here, okay, in my last video I said, oh, I realized I know where all the markings or tattoos, whatever, symbols for every character is except for Senna. I could not find Senna's like mark anywhere, but it's literally right here on her arm. See, on her arm right there, that is her, that's her symbol. So we know Noah's symbol is on the back of his right hand. Mio's symbol is actually on her neck, and I'll point that out when we get there at the end of the trailer. Iuni's is on her chest, Lance is on his chin, Senna's is on her arm, and Tyon, I will tell you when we get to it. But here, it seems like somebody's in trouble, and then Lance and Senna are running to form the Ouroboros, and we hear Lance, he says Noah, but Senna says Phoebe. We don't know anybody named Phoebe. It could be one of the two female characters we see later on, either like the glass hand one or the one with the green hair. Either one of them could be Phoebe. But we haven't seen or heard anything about no type of Phoebe at all.
Let's get stuck in.
Yeah.
And again, here we can see
Let's get stuck
Lance's Ouroboros in his right eye, and you see the symbol on his chin right there,
in.
Yeah.
and then Senna's in her left eye.
Will do.
And then that is their Ouroboros form. And it looks like they got fans on their hands. That's really weird.
So you can take.
And then
So you
Tyon's Ouroboros in his left
can
eye,
take that.
Uni's in her right eye. I did notice though, Noah and Lance had their Ouroboroses in their right eye, and then Mio and Senna had them in their left eye. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe the females have them in their left eye while the males have them in their right eye. But here, Uni has it in her right eye and Tyon has it in his left. So that's just kind of weird. And bro, this is proving this is proving it. Tyon is weird, okay? He is not as he seems. If you haven't seen that video, go watch that video. It's a trip. But Tyon, I'm telling y'all, Tyon is a weird guy. He's got a lot of, I don't know, he just has this weird aura about him, okay? But Tyon's gonna turn out not to be who we think he is later on in the game. I'm telling y'all, okay? So don't sleep on Tyon.
Form via a strong desire or emotion.
And this is Tyon in a Uni's form. It kind of reminds me of like a wasp or a hornet, because they have the wings on their on their head, and I don't know this, and it also kind of reminds me of Pheromosa, you know, the Pokemon, who's also a bug. So it's kind of Tyon in a Uni's form kind of reminds me of a bug. Lance and Senna's form, it kind of, I don't know who. It kind of looks like they're wearing knuckle claws from Xenoblade 2. So that's how they could fight in combat, because we know Mio and Noah, they use a sword in combat for their Ouroboros form. And well, I mean, we already get to see Lance and Senna using those like knuckle claw arm things, and then Uni and Tyon use the like big head sword appendage things. But if you notice, Mio and Noah, don't they also look kind of familiar? Maybe like Beltol, Phase Gear from Xenogears. So I mean, this could also be a callback to Xenogears, because that looks a lot like Beltol. So I mean, that's already two Xenogear references from just like a surface level look at the characters, or from what we've seen. And here, this area seems to be an Agnes colony. Agnes because it's white everywhere, and it looks like they're in like a walled area, like a big walled arena type thing. So this could be, and obviously there's no like roof, you can see the sunlight in the shadows, but this is some type of Agnes colony, or this could be the Agnes capital, and they could be facing Nia right now, or that big Ouroboros Agnes guy. Here, this is Noah as a little kid, and this was really trippy. At first, when I first watched the trailer, I said, oh, this is like some type of force field going over the world, but that's a planet. Okay, that looks like Earth. So this could be the merging of Xenoblade 1 and 2's world, but I thought that Xenoblade 3, like Ionios, was the result of the first two worlds merging, like at the end of spoilers by the way, but at the end of Xenoblade 1, after the party beats Zanza, Shulk wishes for a world without the need for gods. You know, a new world is created, that could be the Xenoblade 1 dimension fusing back with the Xenoblade 2 dimension, creating the Xenoblade 3 world. But this looks like it's a physical planet encroaching in on them. And if that's the case, then this city or whatever is just floating out in space on like an asteroid, and they're just on a crash course with Earth, because then you see the red clouds everywhere. Kind of, it could be like the asteroid setting on fire. But yeah, I have no idea what is that's supposed to signify. But that is not a force field. That's a whole ass planet.
Henceforth, all orders are rescinded. Eliminate Ouroboros at all.
And we hear Melia right here. She said, all orders are rescinded. Destroy all Ouroboros at once. So, yeah, Kevis and Agnes really want these Ouroboroses gone.
Henceforth.
And if you look, time is frozen here when Noah's like turning and looking at the planet.
Henceforth.
Perhaps maybe when the Xenoblade 1 and 2 universes formed together, like Ionios was caught in the middle of it. So when they formed together, it's like all three of them formed into one. That doesn't make too much sense knowing all of what we know. But that could be a possibility. And here we see Melia is standing in front of a clock, and both clocks are full. On the left, we see green for Agnes, and on the right, we see blue for Kevis. And it looks like that the Kevis part, the blue, is kind of overtaking the green because they're not perfectly half and half. At the top, the blue looks like it's starting to overtake the green. So that's could be like one giant flame clock to signify. There could be 3 flame clocks, one for each nation, and then one massive one like in between both, where it shows the clocks of both nations at once. And like Kevis is starting to like overtake Agnes, and maybe once the clock is completely full of one nation, the other nation dies off. Like the entire nation just dies out and goes extinct. So this could be why the party is fighting, or like fighting to live and living to fight, in order to keep the clock in balance and basically at equilibrium. Because if you see, the Kevis side is starting to take over the Agnes side, and that's going to become a problem because, you know, Agnes people can have that. You got to keep the clock in unison or at equilibrium, so you have to fight to fill that clock back up. So maybe both sides, Kevis and Agnes, are afraid of the other like filling up the clock and taking them out, so they are going to try to do it first. So it's just a constant war of trying to fill your side of the clock as to not get destroyed by the other side by them filling up their clock.
All orders are rescinded. Eliminate Ouroboros at all costs.
Y'all see it? Y'all see it? I know y'all see it. Right there on his palm. That is where Tyon's symbol is at. So we now officially know where the symbol is on every single party member. Noah on the back of his right hand, Mio on her neck, Tyon on his palm, Iyuni on her chest, Senna on her arm, and Lance on his chin. So I don't think that might be the symbol of an Ouroboros, considering how important Ouroboroses are to the story, and each of the party members can form Ouroboroses. At first I thought it was a symbol of an Offseer, but I don't think the entire party, like everyone in the party, is an Offseer. Because yes, although Offseers are important to the story, I feel Ouroboroses are just as, if not more important to the overall story. And the reason for Offseers is because of Ouroboroses, but that's for a whole nother different video.
It's my revenge.
Here, obviously we see Nia, but here, listen you can hear Isurugi say something very, very important.
That is my revenge. It's payback for Nimue dying with her wish unfulfilled.
He said, "That is my revenge. This is payback for Nimue dying without her wish fulfilled." Nimue is also a character that we have not seen before or heard of before. She's obviously dead, and Isurugi wants his revenge and to fulfill her wish. What her wish is, we don't know. Who she is, she could be a high-ranking official of Agnes, just like he is. Either that, or she's just someone very close to him personally. Either way, Isurugi is trying to get his revenge for Nimue and fulfill her wish. Now,
Dying with her wish unfulfilled.
here we see him. He doesn't have that red glow in his eye. So this could be before he was corrupted by that Ouroboros antagonist. Okay. We don't know.
Wish unfulfilled.
This is an Agnes character. We don't know who she is. Like, we don't know what her name is or why she has that like glass arm. If you look at her forehead, it looks like she's got this little protrusion. It looks like stone is starting to form out of her head. So maybe once your like clock is running out, you start to turn to stone, and that's how you die. So her clock could be running out, and she needs to find a way to fill it back up. But she is on Agnes's side.
It's a wild ride, this passage of fate.
It's a wild ride, this passage of fate. Obviously, no one can control the passage of fate, and you kind of just have to go along for the ride with it. And it's not always going to be the best. This character, I really like her. I want to learn more about her and who she is, and I really hope she becomes a party member. I like her a lot, but she is also with Agnes, and we can see that here. She has white armor on with just orange plating over it. And she also has like the white skull type things on her hair with the red pins. So she's with Agnes. I'm really interested in learning about who she is as a character. I don't know, because it looks like she uses a bow, and I really like bows and like ranged attackers. So, she might even be a party member along with Isurugi, might become a party member at some point, maybe as well as Ethel and this glass hand girl right here.
Her wish unfulfilled.
Right here.
It's a wild ride, this passage of fate. We got ourselves a nice little awakening.
And okay, that's badass. And apparently Noah's sword isn't like we thought. I thought it kind of looks like a Minato and Aegis sword type thing, but that red Minato Aegis sword, that's just a sheath, and like the actual sword is this long white blade, and like the sheath actually like comes apart and forms a glove.
We got ourselves a nice little awakening.
Don't know what that's about, but that's really badass. And it looks like, yeah, it covers like his entire arm all the way up to his shoulder. So Iron Man out here, but this is really cool. Yeah, this looks like some really cool gameplay mechanic. So it looks like we'll have like multiple combat gimmicks. Maybe something like this where you can like take your weapons apart and use them in a different way, as well as Ouroboros forms. So Xenoblade 3 is going all out in like story, combat, everything. This is like the climax. It's almost as if this is going to be like the last Xenoblade game to wrap up the series and maybe all of Xeno. It's certainly looking that way, considering Xenoblade 3 is episode 6 of Perfect Works, which is the end. So they might end Perfect Works off with Xenoblade 3 and then start some entirely new timeline or something. Or after Xenoblade 3, we'll get X2 or an export, and then X2, and then a brand new Xeno IP. Don't know, but I'm just excited to see what Xenoblade 3 has in store for us and everything that goes on with it. I'm so excited.
Why is my name on here?
And here we see some type of glowing sword pointed at Iuni's eye, and this is when she's still with Kevis. We can see she's wearing her black, like, Kevis soldier attire. She's like, I don't know if this is Iuni. This voice talking is Iuni. I assume it is, since it shows her right there.
Why is my name on here?
It says, why is my name on here? At first, I thought it was the sword right here, or maybe this is Iron Giant. Not an Iron Giant, but like one of the mechs we see right here, one of these mechon. No, I remember. This is like the little, it's like the little arm type of blade on that Ouroboros guy. If you remember,
Destiny.
this Ouroboros guy, this guy right here, he's got those like arm blade things. So that's what that is. So Iuni is over here. Yeah, okay. So yeah, so that blade right there is from that Ouroboros guy. That, antagonist.
That is my revenge. It's payback for Nimue dying with her wish unfulfilled.
It's a wild ride, this passage of fate. We got ourselves a nice little awakening.
So Iuni met him before joining the party, maybe? And Iuni has something to do with him. And so why is my name on here? I don't know what that could mean, but obviously this guy has some sort of importance and special connection with the party themselves. Some like personal connection with the party themselves.
Why is my name on here?
And here, this is Valdi. He is a young Machina boy, and he could actually be a half-breed of Machina and Homs, because he's got the gold eyes, kind of like Tornans or Tantalese from Xenoblade 2. So he could somehow be related to Rex and by extension Adam. But we don't know. But he is a young Machina boy, and he does become a party member at some point in the game. I don't know if he's a permanent party member, but he is at least a temporary party member, as we'll see here in a minute.
My way.
And it actually looks like artificial
Why is
blades.
my name on here?
See this little mech right here? Like casting like a shield to protect Baldi. So maybe, I don't know if it's like an artificial blade per se, but obviously have like robots and machines fighting alongside Valdi and perhaps the party at some point.
Here.
And he has this like glove. You see the glove right there? It's like a giant mechanical arm. I was thinking, oh, that could be like Rex's anchor shot. He's got that bulky thing on his wrist. But either this is a glove or that's his actual arm, and Lenata like outfitted him with that arm. So like, we know Machina can live for a long, long time. So Lenata may still be alive and even created a little robot for him. It's kind of like a Poppy Tora type of situation where Valdi is Tora, and then that little robot right there could be Poppy. And holy shit, I just realized Valdi has that tattoo on his arm as well. you see right there on his shoulder, he has that little the symbol, and it looks like it's differently colored. Yeah, if you think about it, each character, or at least some characters, their symbols are differently colored than others. On his shoulder right here, we see the middle and like one half, like the longer streaks on the side are red. Where I think with the party we just see like the middle is red. Here one of the sides is red, so like half of his is red. So maybe when your symbol goes fully red, you get that red glow in your eye and effectively become a gnosis. Or maybe that is like a physical clock on your body instead of, you know, on your weapon. Maybe that's a physical clock on your body. And once that all goes red, your clock is depleted and you become a gnosis. I don't know, but that's so cool. That is so cool.
My way demands we fight.
This guy, he is really cool. His name is Cam Navi. He is from Colony Delta. He is also chief of military, and he's also known as Crimson Lotus Cam Navi. He is from Agnes. And apparently, Mio is like some type of legend because he or she is the warrior that he heard about. So Mio is obviously some type of importance to Agnes, and he's like heard many stories about her. So, but he is from Colony Delta on the Agnes side of things, and he's chief of military. And I've also noticed the Kevis colonies, at least the one that we know of, Colony 4, has a numerical name, while Colony Delta and Lambda from Agnes have like alphabetical names. So that could be like a little hint or like a callback to the series itself, because in Xenoblade 1 all the colonies had numbers. In Xenoblade 2 there weren't really colonies, we had the Titans, which all had names. So that could just be a nice little attention to detail that they did, or that could have some story significance, since Kevis is the Xenoblade 1 side of things, and then Agnes is the Xenoblade 2 side of things. So that's just something really cool that I noticed. I don't know if that has like any like actual significance, but it was something that I noticed. And here we actually see Ethel and we see Ethel right here, Ethel and Cam Navi fighting each other. And here we see she doesn't have that red glow in her eye either. So Kevis and Agnes, I mean, we know they're at war with each other, but Cam Navi and Ethel have some type of rivalry. And they actually have their fated enemies. I'm getting all this information. There's the Xenoblade 3 Japanese Twitter account dropped a new, like, updated, basically relationship chart, this flow chart of all the characters and their relationships with the new characters. And for Ethel and Cam Navi, it says that they are fated enemies. So they obviously have some type of importance to the story. So, I mean, I don't know, considering Mio, Senna, Tyon, and, you know, Manana too, and then Noah, Lance, Iyuni, and Riku, they're all working together. The Kevis and Agnes side are like working together in one group. While although Ethel was friends with Noah and Cam Navi is friends with Mio, Ethel and Cam Navi are still enemies with each other, despite like their friends, I guess, being friends with the enemies. I know what y'all probably can understand what I'm saying. But through association, you'd think that they would be friends too, or at least, you know, not trying to kill each other. Okay. Yeah, I just kind of had like a brain freeze right there. I was trying to say something and I just completely blanked out, so I just cut that part out. But yeah.
Against my lance.
And here,
Against my lance.
off you see Manana, who is on the Agnes side. And something that's noticeable about Manana is, if you've seen, I think about a couple weeks ago, I dropped a video about the concept art for Xenoblade 2, and Manana kind of takes on the appearance, or she reminds me a lot of Pyra's beta Xenoblade 2 design. So I'm not sure if that's supposed to mean anything, but Riku looks scarily a lot like Rex, so it obviously has some significance. So we see Manana and Riku are like Rex and Pyra, or representing Rex and Pyra in the story. So if by that logic we should see some type of counterpart or representation of Shulk and Fiora, possibly. But here it looks like they're in a Kevis colony, because it's kind of dark in here. It looks mechanical everywhere, and again, it's like they're in a closed off area, and it looks like there's a Mechon just laying right there. But this is probably a Kevis colony.
I've never used this kind of blade before, but all the techniques I can use with it are flashing before my eyes.
The only thing that can
Here, Van Damme. He's wearing this weird like mask type thing now, and it looks like he's wearing all black, but that's just gray. And either that or he just likes the color black. Doesn't mean he's from Kevis.
the only thing that can change all this is the will of Ouroboros.
If you hear, he says the only thing that can change all this is the will of Ouroboros. So obviously there's a bigger threat than just the war between Kevis and Agnes that the party needs to take care of. And like the only way to face that is the will of Ouroboros. And like maybe that real threat is that Ouroboros antagonist. I'm just calling him Groff from now on. I know it's not Groff, but saying the Ouroboros guy is kind of getting annoying and a mouthful. So Groff could be the real enemy, and the only way to like fight him is with the will of Ouroboros, is in the Ouroboros form. And look at Iuni's shoes. They're so clean. But okay.
The only thing that
he's like beating on some type of machine right here.
can change all this. That can change all this.
Yeah, this looks really weird. Not sure what this, it kind of looks like the belt that the characters have been wearing with like the ring, the blue belt with the ring around them. You'll see
Is the will of Ouroboros.
right here. You see like on a Iuni right there, like that blue circle in the middle, her belt, that kind of looks like, that's what that machine right here looks like. It's not that's obviously not a belt, because that's way too bulky to be a belt and everything.
Is the will of Ouroboros.
And characters actually like kind of summon their weapons like out of nowhere, so they can like, maybe they can control ether and summon their weapons out of ether. And if you see around them, it's like this deep purple fog, so that could be like high concentrations of ether that allow them to summon their weapons. But Noah already has his out, but the rest of the party, they just kind of summon their weapons out of thin air. So maybe that could be due to the power, having the power of an Ouroboros, or it could just be some ether manipulation type thing.
You kids, and you alone.
Not that I have all that much.
And Vandam here says,
I've never used this kind of blade before my eye.
The only thing that can change all this is the will of Ouroboros.
the only thing that can change all this is the will of Ouroboros.
You kids and your love.
You kids and your love.
Not that I have all that much time to spare. But soon. Finding a path that lets us all live.
Not that I have much time to spare. Soon, finding a path that lets us all live.
I will make that my mission.
I will make that my mission. At first, I thought that was Mio, because it looks like she's writing here in some type of journal. But that doesn't really sound like Mio.
Not that I have all that much time to spare. But soon. Finding a path that lets us all live. I will make that my mission.
Now that I think about it, at first it didn't sound like it, but I can hear like the Welsh accent a little bit. So maybe that's Nia or Mio saying that. That could be either one of them. But yeah, they're trying to find a way to stop this war and stop the real. Okay, I just wanted to show the title. But maybe they're, well, not maybe, they are trying to find, at least her specifically, is trying to find a way to stop this war and stop the real enemy and find a way where everyone can live on in peace without having to fight over and over again to keep the clocks full or something. But a very, very important piece of information that was dropped on one of the websites. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think it was the updated official Japanese website for Xenoblade 3. It said that everyone only has 10 years to fight. I don't know if that means 10 years from when the worlds merged, because all the party members are 18 years old except for Mio. Mio is 19. But I'm gonna read it right here. It says, live to fight and fight to live in a warring world with a dark secret. Every minute counts for the soldiers of Ionios who are given a mere 10 years to live and fight. Join Noah and Mio, members of two opposing nations at the center of this conflict, on a heartfelt journey to end the cycle of violence. A group of 6 characters from these nations join together to awaken the colonies of Ionios to the underlying threat both nations face. Traverse massive, fantastical sci-fi landscapes as you explore the true enemy pulling the strings behind the conflicts. So, the true enemy could be that Groff guy. Or maybe he's like just a minor antagonist, and like the true enemy is someone much stronger, like a much higher power. Elvis. But yeah, that was, they just kind of dropped that information on the website, like, and didn't even tell anybody either, pulling some Yoko Taro stuff out here. But the Xenoblade 3 Japanese Twitter account, and even Nintendo of America themselves are translating them, is like dropping some information. So it looks like maybe like last time, where for like a straight week they drop new information every single day after the announcement trailer. Maybe they'll do the same here, where they'll just drop information every single day for a week since this new trailer. But after we get all of this information, if they do drop for a week again, I'm going to like compile all of that and put it into one big video. But I'm also, of course, going to make a video on the whole flowchart, this new updated flowchart, and explain everything there, because the relationships between characters is different now. Also got updated. Also, that Van Damme guy, he actually has a name, and it's weird because there's he kind of has like 2 names. Mind you, this flowchart is only in Japanese and has been fan translated. So this little part could have been added on by a fan. But this Van Damme guy, his name is Guernica, and it says comma Van Damme. So maybe this is Van Damme, or it is some type of distant relative to Van Damme, and his name is Guernica, and he just goes by Van Damme to honor Van Damme. But this could be like actual Van Damme from Xenoblade 2. So I don't know, Guernica, Van Damme, whatever, but he knows somehow about the real enemy, and he tells the party to go to Sword March. That could be like the base of a third nation, or where Graf resides at, or something. But he obviously knows something that the party doesn't, and he's going to be very, very important to the story later on. But yeah, that's about it for this. I'm probably going to have to make another video on this, of like a revised video of this, kind of like the original, where I'm going to have to just come back and correct a lot of stuff that I either missed or got wrong, because I know there's going to be plenty of you in the comments telling me what I got wrong or what I missed. So I'm looking forward to that. You know, I like the interaction. I like the interaction comments. So I mean, hey, there might be another video on this, but yeah, this one was kind of rushed because personal reasons. But I am going to be making other videos on this trailer that will be more organized than this. Okay, they're going to be more organized than this one. This one was just kind of rushed. Not rocking a script or bullet points or anything. I'm trying to kind of just going off of memory. But yeah, that's about it for this video. Yeah, they could not have dropped a new trailer at any more of a better time. Monolith is so goated. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say. So, I mean, as always, thanks for watching. Have a damn good day. Stay safe. Be well. And play some goddamn Xenoblade.